Hello folks, Alex here. This is Alex Unabridged, and today I want to have a little look at my first 100 days on BookTube. So welcome back to the channel if that's the case. As this video goes out, I think we're very nearly, if not at, 100 days for me, of my first 100 days on BookTube, which for me is quite an achievement. 100 days of anything is quite an achievement for me. I tend to flit around a lot between, hobby to hobby, obsession to obsession. And so if I can make it consistently through 100 days of something, then that's quite, as I say, that's quite an achievement for me. And I have been quite consistent. I have managed to release stuff quite regularly. So I just want to have a little look at those first 100 days and what's changed for me in terms of my reading, what I've got out of it, and just think about where I go for the next 100 days and the 100 days after that potentially. So yeah, it's just a little ramble from me today, a little Sunday ramble. So let's have a little look at some of the stats, shall we, just from my first 100 days. In total, so far, including this video, I've done 37 videos, which when I look at the number feels like quite a lot. Yeah, that's something that I don't think probably is sustainable long term in terms of the amount of videos that I'm releasing on a kind of a 2 to 3 per week schedule. I think 2 is far more obtainable than 3. But yeah, whilst I love doing them and I've got the time, I will just kind of keep going. I'm currently sitting on 80 subscribers, which to me is astounding. There's no way I thought I would hit that in this short amount of time. So thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed so far, and just generally support, even if you're not subscribed, if you watch occasionally, or this is your first video, then thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. So my reading, how has BookTube affected my reading? Bearing in mind, before last year, before I started the channel in January, of course, and 2022 I read predominantly audiobooks, so I listened, the exception being a few print books and a few ebooks, but those were largely things like comics, graphic novels, or in terms of the print books, art books. But I was like 75% of my reading last year was audiobooks, and I think I read like just over 40 books last year. This year, the format balance has surprisingly to me shifted. I've read a lot less or listened to a lot less audiobooks so far this year. I've kind of got through a hell of a lot more print books. It's kind of this year 60% so far. These first few months of this year have been 60% have been print books, and I think that's because I've kind of got back into, I've refound that kind of love of the book as a physical object. As well as the content of something, and I've enjoyed having one in my hands. I think just reading around more, going and doing some book hauls, which I hadn't done in a while, things like that. I've just kind of I'm reappreciating. I've got a renaissance in appreciation for nice paper books. They can be really battered old things, or they can be really pretty new special things. But I like the feel of them. I like the tactile quality. I'm also reading more digital stuff. I do have Kindle Unlimited, so that helps. But I've just also bought a Kindle recently, so I think that will continue to tick up. But I'm still listening to the audiobooks. I love the audiobooks. I have an Audible membership. I have Plus catalogue at my fingertips, with stuff already included in the subscription. So the audiobooks aren't going anywhere by any means. But I think the balance has just shifted a bit, and I think it's a little bit more equal in some respects across the different formats. I'm definitely reading more books, but I'm not necessarily reading more pages. I think finding sort of the community on BookTube, and I'll come to that in a bit more in a minute, but I'm seeing so much more from other people and recommendations and things like that, and getting into some stuff that I wouldn't have necessarily considered so much before. Things like some trashy stuff, some of the wonderful kind of mass market paperback trashy horror from the 80s, 70s and 80s. Those are, those are thin books generally. They're kind of, 200 pages or thereabouts, a lot of them. And I'm looking at short stories more and things like that as well. So I'm reading more individual books, but the page count of those is smaller. Whereas before, last year, and previous to that, often I would generally pick a big chunky tome to read, because I wouldn't read as regularly, so I'd just kind of go all in on one thing, like a big chunker, and then I probably wouldn't read anything else for a while. So I'm kind of reading more kind of consistently throughout the months, but yeah, just thinner books basically. I have got faster at reading as well. I think that's a really good thing in terms of practice. I'm not rushing things. I'm not trying to increase my reading speed consciously. I just have got faster at reading, just by virtue of the fact that I'm reading more regularly, which helps, kind of get through more stuff if I want to in the months. I'm not, as I say, I'm not trying to trying to push myself to get faster, to speed read or anything like that, because that's not why I read. I read for pleasure. And if I don't get through things, I don't get through them in the month. I have TBRs, but a lot of them are more piles of possibilities or hope to read or what have you, because I don't want that pressure. If I put everything in this is to be read for the month, for definite, then I kind of beat myself up a little bit if I don't get to stuff. And I want reading to remain a hobby that I enjoy, rather than feel like a job or something I have to do. So yeah, I'm just kind of conscious of that with BookTube, that I don't trip into that feeling that it's work, because it shouldn't be work. Reading, for me, certainly, it should be fun. Okay, so making the videos, how has that improved? I think I'm a lot quicker at doing them now, in terms of I don't have to re-record umpteen times. When I first started doing the videos, I would do several different recordings of them because I wasn't happy with them, and then the editing process would take me ages, partly because I was kind of relearning some of the software that I hadn't used in years, but also just because I was constantly second guessing myself on things, and I have the tendency to be a perfectionist, certainly like with anything creative, and it always then means that you're never happy with something, whereas with this, I quite quickly kind of went, no, if you're going to get this done, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it quicker. Generally, you're going to have to get rid of that perfectionism. Done is better than perfect. Something will never be perfect. Perfection is unattainable. I know this rationally, but it doesn't help me. It doesn't help my brain from constantly trying to make it so. I think there's a designer and writer and general all-round great kind of creative guy called James Victory, who wrote a book called Feck Perfection, which I think is a perfect way to be. So yeah, just kind of getting into that headspace of just get a video out. You know, it's you talking. You're not going for a BAFTA. It's just you talking at the internet, and who knows how few people will watch. It's not about trying to build some sort of career on here. It's just about talking about books for my own enjoyment and hopefully other people's enjoyment. So yeah, so definitely getting quicker and less nitpicky at making my videos. Okay, community. This is the big one. This is why I joined BookTube in the first place, to talk about books and to have a dialogue with people about the books, because I don't have people in my, real world, kind of everyday life that I can talk to about, certainly about the books that I enjoy generally, but really about books in general. I don't have that many friends. I'm a proper introvert, and I have a very small but lovely group of close friends, but not all of them are as into books as I am. So yeah, I just hope to kind of, connect with a couple of people, and I've certainly done that. It's been way better than I even, hoped for, in terms of meeting new people, chatting with people, kind of finding new channels as well to watch. I found some absolutely wonderful channels that I might not have come across before. It's kind of it's that kind of rabbit hole, spider's web type thing of like you find one person and they direct you to someone else and they direct you to someone else and all that kind of stuff. So it's been fantastic on that respect. I've got involved with reading events, which I might not have done before I was making videos. Before I was making videos, I watched a lot of videos, but I didn't really interact much. I kind of lurked a little bit in the background and just watched stuff, but I didn't really get involved in the BookTube community. Whereas when you're making stuff, there's much more of an impetus to do that. So yeah, reading events like Garb August 2.0, or Garb August 1.5 rather, which was that little kind of wasted mini weekend of reading trashy books. That was my first taste, and I loved that. And then I've just done Trans Girl April and Old School April, both of which have been perfection. I have to say, kudos to the organisers of those, because those have been brilliant. Got Horror Mayhem coming up in May. I've got Garb August, Full Fat Garb August in August. There's so much that I'm looking forward to, and it's a really cracking way to get involved with people and find more like-minded folks on the in the community. And the big one, I think, for me, which I think needs acknowledging, is the mammoth increase in my self-confidence. I was in a little bit of a self-confidence rut, shall we say, for the past couple of years. I'd kind of got quite isolated, and yeah, was just feeling quite low on myself, I guess. And so doing BookTube was kind of a way to put myself out there and try and just kind of build that up a little bit. And yeah, it's definitely worked, and that's thanks to you folks who've watched the videos and commented and been really supportive. And it has made a huge difference to my self-confidence. And so again, thank you for that. And particularly, I have to say, being out as LGBT on BookTube. I'm not generally publicly out elsewhere, or haven't been in the past, sporadically, and then I've kind of withdrawn again. But being able to talk about some of those things and talk about that in relation to books and bookish things, writing, etc. That I found that's my way to do it. That is my way to do it. And again, you know, the support that I've had from folks with some of my LGBT videos has been absolutely wonderful, and I've, you know, that's led me to meet other trans booktubers, for instance. So yes, so that has been, I think, probably the biggest impact to me, is that confidence. Any negatives to doing BookTube? Not what I'd call negatives, I don't think. The sort of life BookTube balance, should we say? In fact, I was talking about the Horror Mayhem event coming up in May to my wife recently, and sort of saying, oh yeah, I've got a big pile of possibilities for that, which I have. I won't get through them all, no way. But, you know, I have still got quite a lot of reading that I would like to do in May. She was like, oh, am I going to be a reading widow again? And I was thinking, maybe I've been reading quite a lot of an evening recently. I've had my head in a book. And she only meant it jokingly, but there's probably a little bit of truth to that I probably just need to make sure that I put a bit more time aside for her, and for us to watch things together and things like that. So I do just need to like monitor that in terms of the amount of time I spend reading and doing BookTube and stuff like that, keeping the balance manageable. So, future. What comes next after this first 100 days? How am I going to change things? What am I going to keep the same, and all that kind of stuff? Okay, first of all, I think in terms of videos, I've not done any tag videos for the past few weeks, and the reason for that is because I'm trying to cut down to 2 videos a week on a Friday and a Sunday. I love doing tag videos for Tag Tuesday, but it's just that kind of one extra video that maybe pushes me over the edge a bit, to do it every week. But yeah, as I say, I love doing them, and I encourage folks to tag me and stuff. I love getting tagged for tag videos, and I will do them if I get tagged. But I won't necessarily go searching around for tags to do each week. You know, it'll just be on a case-by-case basis as somebody might tag me in a video. And I'm going to try and spread out some of my kind of bigger videos in terms of things like top 10s, discussions, all that kind of stuff, because they just take more time. They take more planning time and recording time and editing time. And so, you know, I've been trying to kind of do those like one a week recently, and it's just not happening. So I'll just spread them out, and they will come as and when, and then they're more manageable. I'm going to try and reduce the length of my videos a little bit. I do tend to put out longer videos, mainly because I ramble. And, you know, try being the operative word here. No promises. But yeah, I'm gonna attempt just to reduce the duration a little bit, just for my own benefit. Again, it's time. You know, it's less time to record, less time to edit, etc. I do want to do some collaborations. I have got one planned that hopefully will come in June. But yes, that's the first one. And then I do have some ideas for some others that I would like to invite people to do in the future. So, you know, another way of getting involved with other booktubers a little bit more kind of proactively. The TBRs, wrap-ups, that kind of thing are here to stay. I enjoy doing those. They're nice and easy to do. And I enjoy watching other people's. So yeah, I'll keep doing those. But I want to do a few more videos on, you know, kind of individual books. So a bit more kind of detailed, my thoughts type things. Not reviews. I don't feel capable of doing a formal review. But I do want to talk a little bit more about some of the particularly excellent books. When I've given something a rating of 5 out of 5, I think it's, you know, respectful to the book then to give slightly more in-depth thoughts on why I feel that way about it. The other thing is vlogs. I love watching other people's vlogs, mainly because I'm a nosy bugger and I like seeing into their lives a bit more. But I mean, I'm going to be going on holiday on Friday, this coming Friday, up to the Cairngorms for a couple of weeks. So whilst I'm away there, I'm not going to be able to do, you know, some of the other sort of videos that I do, but I'll be out and about and reading and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I can do some little vlogs for that. And summer is approaching, and that generally means that I will want to be outside hiking more, outside camping, all that kind of stuff. And so again, vlogs fit that quite well. In terms of, you know, I can listen to audiobooks when I hike, and I do. You know, that's often when I read more hiking and landscape based things, or listen to it. So I can do some little kind of bimbles with books type videos, you know, little vlog things there. And as I say, I when I camp, I always have an audiobook on when I'm in my tent of an evening. So yeah, so I'll probably do those. So if you want to see me, you know, scared shitless in a tent listening to a horror book, let me know, and I might consider doing that as a laugh. So yeah, so that's kind of the plans for the general sorts of stuff that I'm going to be doing going forwards. It's very similar, basically, to what I've been doing so far. There's no change in focus in terms of the sort of books that I read. It will still be bits of everything. I like what I read, and I read what I like, and that's the way it's going to stay. There will always be a decent horror contingent to the channel, and then lots of other bits and pieces, I should think, because that's just the way that I am generally. I like variety. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. So yes, so that is where we're up to. Thank you once again for supporting the channel and me over the first 100 days of Alex Unabridged, and I hope you'll stick with me for a bit longer. But if you enjoyed the video, please do consider giving me a like, and if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing that as well for more content coming soon. I will be back with more bookish ramblings, and as I say, vlogs of my holiday and my holiday reading over the next couple of weeks. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.